Comrade Jane, you can greet our comrades. We also have before powers, which was power and the chemical. So Comrade Refile. Departments, and when we make that call, they rise and rise very high. We have comrades in this high. We have comrades in this labor school also have been joined by come as a brief what come as a brief what Nalodi, they are here, and the comrades from FES, you will see them as when they come at that point. We have the direct Mercium, ons gaan praat, Jen en yes. Okay. She was. Okay. She will come. She's the director of FES in South African chapter. They have an office here and they have a chapter. They have an office here and they are fully supportive every time when we knock out. Facilitators also are from FES, and thank you, Comrade Catherine, for that. You have made our things very easy for cadres and facilitators, and we'll be with them throughout. Comrades, we are going to open us officially so that when we take, it's a feminist school. We have Central Executive Committee members, comrades, are in our, we need to know our leaders so that, and we need to respect leaders. We also, and we are shining, we are here, we are all learning here. They've taken out that cap. They are also part of the school. We have come the deputy because energy, it's too, yeah. And then we have our vice president for gender, Comrade Utandeka Tando Maki. Oh, she's here. Oh, this one. We need to clap for that one, comrade, from the Congress. And newly. The other leaders, we know they are always here with us, Comrade, the first Deputy President of POPRU, Comrade Mkoko. Commitments, organizational one, we have Comrade Tunyameka, the first Deputy President of NEHAU, also she's part of us. And we have in labor school, we have parallel meeting structures. We have comrades. I want to my comrades. We are also joined by Comrade to time the provincial office bearers from the provinces. I think Eastern Cape, Bakwana, just Eastern Cape. Oh, okay, yeah. Eastern Cape, okay, they've apologized. Free State. I'm like, because I don't have their portfolios with me here now, you'll pardon me, comrades, but Free State we have. Gauteng, comrades, the provincial secretary. Free State, no, from the province, you are only one. Akuyosetshenzwa ma comrade. Akambe nikuyosetshenzwa. Nesibiyelele entsimini. Free State only one. Secretary who she is admitted. She was supposed to be with us. She's in hospital. And Limpopo, I saw. Yebo. Northern Cape, not Northern Cape, Northwest. Northwest. Northwest, KZN. Northwest, KZN. Because it was created to empower women, because it was created to empower women leaders. So we can't be saying we're empowering women leaders. So we can't be saying we're empowering women leaders and have a chairperson and a secretary of the province. And those that the gender economy and on ensuring that we promote the right of the care workers. So our
Sanibonani, Dubelang, Mulweni, Absheni, Lang, Mulweni, Absheni, Vodate wetu, Abatanegayo, Nobuchle. It is special in our work, both mine at FES and I think yours at COSATU as well, to be only, or at least mostly among sisters. Izikati, as in learn together, grow together, struggle together, and where we can support each other. The fact that COSATU is creating this in the organization is very encouraging. As we all know and experience daily in all our spaces, as progressive and revolutionary as you might like to call them, they are deeply patriarchal.
Ma'am Getty, I've heard others call you Getty. Well, I'm trying to check if I'll be able to open up this presentation. Comrade, may I request that you please assist? Maybe as a comrade Nosipo is assisting me with the. Okay, it's fine. Okay, I stand in front of you, comrades, with a delegated task. On behalf of the NGOs, you would have heard that they are held up in various commitments that they have been sent to by our federation. Now, let me stand on the protocol that would have been established already, mentioning that amongst us there are leaders of various affiliates. Oh. Okay, no, thank you so much. Acknowledging the presence of all the office bearers of various affiliates here and key rates. And I must say that I've got the privilege of seeing how beautiful you are as women. Now, I would like to mention happens at a very critical time of the calendar of the year during the International Women's Month. Now, you'll highlight the power of collaboration that we as women are able to execute in our various tasks that we embark upon affiliates. And by so saying, that is our collaborative power. Now, we want to highlight that, unfortunately for us, quickly would be women and children. I think at the back of our minds, we have not forgotten how a school was bombed, what time that we find ourselves living in. Now, the devastation caused by these world wars increases the crisis of global care, the crisis of care. You'll remember that broadly speaking and broadly looking, the burden of care of women, even in those countries where war is happening, those that are hard at work in ensuring that they restore the lives of those that are casualties of most are women. Would like to also mention that even Warisa is the global rise of fascism. We have over the world and reversing the gains that we would have made, particularly ourselves on the left and women in particular. One would phenomena that seem to be gaining traction, comrades. There's a grouping which originates from the East. Leader Falun Gong. Please do find some time and just check. They are advocating for exactly what we are gathered here for. They are aligned to the right-wing movement, and this grouping in the main is now based in the USA and is supported by because of these calamities of war. The lives that have been lost counts to millions, comrades. Can you imagine lives that are lost at the range of not 1 million, but millions because of wars? Now, would like to further the COVID-19. Unfortunately, we thought that beyond the pandemic, the world was going to be a peaceful and a much better place. Let's mention that the feminist theory remind us that there's a lot that we can do as women. There is, even from the representatives of various organizations, that care rests upon them. But yet, at this point, during a deepening and worrisome crisis, feminism is rising with courage, bravery, and creativity. And it affirms our voices. We can begin to change the course of the world. We can begin to advocate for peace by challenging some of the disturbing patriarchal, although a patriarch, the system of male dominance, deprive us of our independence and seeks to, this system seem to close the doors in our faces as women, as it is our time to enter. We are equal to the task. We will be able to rise and will be able to stand, and through our various feminist position that says we are at the front line, comrades, of defending democracy and ensuring that there's everlasting peace. That we say in defense of our children. These words were said by Mama Lillian Ngoyi some years ago. Open quote, "Let us be brave. We have had a womandla. Abafazi, baphethe, abafazi. Thank you, comrades. Mali bongwe igama lamakhosikazi. Mali bongwe igama lamakhosikazi.
Mandla, 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 mandla. Comrades, singenile kusikolo. Comrades, can we have the facilitators, Lizel, lead your facilitators so that we are able to, comrades, there's no point of order from now up until the 25. You'll start with the point of order on the 26th. It's also racial. Eh? It's what? It's interest. Then know who are we talking to when they start the facilitation. Do you have e-mic, Lapo? I also want to know if you have chosen comrades that knows the trade union movement. So that, yes, now from the trade union. Okay, over to you, comrades.
I started when I still had black hair. And now you can see I'm great with a union called PAU. And just before the merger, and we became CPAU. I was a few years there, and then I...
Greetings, comrades. Matla, there when I was 2018, and yeah, I'm here. Thank you. Super excited to be here once again.
Amandla. Malbongwe. Kamala Muzanet of Trade Union Cooperation and Internationalism. But I'm born from the trade union movement, joined around 2003 as a CEPAO member.
Great.
I think Ukulu is just like
Amandla. Okay, comrades, we are now moving into a session about looking back so that we can look forward together, so that we understand where we come from as a trade union movement and what struggles. We have a rousing welcome for our panelists, Comrades Refilwe Nzuta, Comrade Jane Barrett, and Comrade Tiny Mabena. Please come and take the comfortable chair. Malibongwe! Thank you, comrades, and welcome to our participants. Comrades, because we started a little later, we are going straight to this session because we've got visitors and we want to make sure that we take advantage of their presence about the purpose of the school, the program, and the other issues. But we really wanted to make sure that we get as much, well, I can't call you visitors, coming home to share with us today. So just in brief, comrades, previously, it's about recognizing that our stories matter. Her stories matter. And we movement, what struggles they took up, and what we can learn from those struggles. And what we're doing today is we are so in previous sessions we've asked our women veterans to talk about their individual stories, and of course individual and collective stories are connected, but today we're going to a gender conference. We've got many issues that we're trying to deal with in the union movement. And we can learn from how things were done in the past. We don't have, it's about challenging the erasure of women's stories. And you'll see in the next door venue, which is the venue where the gender conference in COSATU, please do go and look at those short stories. And this is just the start of other things that with veterans and done by Naledi and also by young women workers in COSATU that formed part of, reflect on some of what they learned also in that process. But what is important about this session is that we want to make we're silenced. Care work, as comrades talked about earlier, it's made invisible. And our stories are made invisible. So there are many women whose stories to the fore so that we can learn from these experiences and honor the struggles that women have taken up. So this session is going to be focused on how did women organize in COSATU? What brought women together? What did women struggle around? What resistances did they face and learn, as I said, from what's come before? and look at how we strengthen our own feminist trade union movement. So I'm going to ask Comrade Griselda to start with.
Now, where are you? Can you take care of one of your own? And Anoza, them for this honor to be part of the panel. And as I was sitting and listening to the speakers, and I hope you've taken note, comrades, of some of the issues that they're organizing that benefits the world. And for me, as I was listening, one of the questions that came up in my mind is beyond the union. The question that I want to ask is, why did you feel it's important for you to be here today? So, any of the comrades, it might tell your story.
It's already the afternoon. Good afternoon, comrades. Having been a unionist, I feel it's very important that we share some experience, that we can empower one another. In that way, we grow, because and present myself, I should do so. Thank you so much.
Good morning. You said it's afternoon. Okay. I'll start. Tatani. And this name, Tatani, it still goes back to tiny. Tiny is in English. Tatani. It's that I also had that conscience in myself, because we've gone through it was not easy, we've gone through a very trade unions, and also to share the information, how we were accepted as women in trade unions, because sometimes it was not easy to actually be.
And over and above what Tiny and Refilwe have said, I have a sort of almost like a selfish reason for wanting to be here. And that is that although I'm now retired, I also am involved in the Palestinian support processes, the protests and so on. So I'm still active. And I feel that we are going to see horrendous inflation and increase in food poverty and so on. And we have to stand together. And so
What do you call it? That imbalance as women, of course, we then took the stand of saying,
Okay. Just to add to what Comrade Tani has said, like for instance, for that right of equal pay for for the same type of job that they are doing. At some stages, pregnant, whenever they fell pregnant, they would be fired from work because they didn't have rights, like the maternity rights. As would not attend antenatal clinics. They wouldn't attend, anything that would be in preparation for the oncoming baby. And gone on that leave. Some of them, of course, they would not be able to come back. Those who were able to come back, they would come back within a short space of time at all, to take care of themselves, to recover from pregnancy, to recover from giving birth. Faced, and then, I'll end there.
To organize in around 1982 cleaners and security guards. In those days, there was very little contracting out. It's hard to believe it now, because now we, especially at night, and that was really a common issue. And the other was, which was kind of related, was so they would have to sleep on the premises until the first light of day when the transport began. And that was often where the abuse would take place. So transport, and we started to identify other common issues. Childcare was a big issue. And the absence of childcare facilities. So we started it, and the lack of access that women had to what we called pap smears. And that became quite a big campaign, actually. Access to getting the tests to have cervical cancer treated early. And so many women were suffering and dying.
These were shop floor issues that you had to deal with. But other than having to let the bosses know that these are women's issues that you are struggling with and these are real issues, how did the male comrades also respond when you brought these things to the table? Any comrade can start? Or do you want to start from my left to my right, or from my right?
They would attend general normal union meetings, and then at some stages they would meet by themselves. In order to do that at some after hours or outside of away from men, used to be held in the evenings or at night. And by that time, it's the time when women need to be with for school kids, and even for the very husbands that would be expecting everything from the woman, because we all know that during those times, men didn't used to comes back to collect the kid, to collect the kid. So during all that time, she wouldn't be having time to attend the meetings of the evenings. So they would propose the meetings of the evenings. So they would propose that in order to fight that, it was then that women demanded to be represented in all the structures of the union.
There was a huge resistance of
union.
There was a huge resistance, of course, we know from the male side. Of course, we know from the male side. As he has indicated, the issue of falling pregnant, and also the issue of the workload, and also the issue of the workload, triple exploitation. You are expectant, they would never even care. That is how we even care. That is how we were able as COSATU to secure the maternity issues. But I must indicate that I had to make sure that you get somebody that will look. I'm sure that you get somebody that will look after your child.
So comrades have had already some examples. Of organizing what women did back in.
Okay, I want to start maybe with the very act of recruitment. Because often we forget about the recruitment. Members of the union, and now we've got a job to do. So I think that there are some important lessons from the 80s around recruitment, because the unions were still very small. So organizing was very intentional. And it wasn't driven by media and impersonal contact. We don't have the luxury of enough staff to do that anymore. But there's something in that process of working in pairs in recruitment, where resistance of members or workers to joining and so on. I mean, I know now a lot of workers, they know about unions, and so who are much more marginalized. So that would be one thing. The other thing is the importance of listening. Came to the fore from workers. And if we are activists, shop stewards, organizers in the unions, our first task is to listen to what are the issues. I think, I'm sure there are a lot of struggles that you're all having day to day in your own unions and in the federation. Honestly, you've come a long way. And if I reflect back to the 1989 Congress of COSATU, remember, COSATU was formed in 1985, adopting sexual harassment perpetrated by the bosses and the supervisors, but actually it's also in our own house. And we've got to pay attention. If it isn't sort of strictly speaking sexual harassment, it's nevertheless the exercise of power. Older male leader, and we had a 4-hour debate. I don't think there's been a longer debate in another Congress. We were supported by the Chemical Workers Union, but no other union supported that motion. But we would not. And we said, what is this? What is that? Because it sounded, and we said, what is this? What is that? Because it sounded to us like it was a proposal to entrench argument that came up from the men largely. Argument that came up from the men largely was women are also exploiting men. Women are also exploiting men. That we poor men are organizing women's structures. We also put forward that resolution. And the argument that came up there was, no, women must organize as women. So those were the kinds of arguments we had. At the same time, and by the way, that 1989 resolution ended when Paperwood and Allied sexual harassment. And that was, a draft was adopted about 3 or 4 years later, and finally, where's Gertie? It was fine, so the original, yeah. Maybe I should just end it there without...
So we hear about the struggles around maternity leave and childcare and the practices that, and we should really, it's one of those campaigns that we should take up. But also, what other struggles can you think of that was...
Francis, as it said, there was also an issue that came up, a resolution presented to the conference. Big thing in the conference. We were labeled and named as women. We are killers. We are killers. That was one of created that abortion resolution, and it was carried. So those are some of the things that we, I think, as that structure, the national structure of COSATU, wonder who our husbands are. Who would allow us to
talk about these things.
Yes, yes. But and also the SHAP resolution also. Yes. All these are touching by men. It ended up people, men liked to touch women. And you cannot accept a person who's not your husband to keep on touch. The resolutions are there. They must be followed and they must not be. You don't have to allow men to push aside those resolutions. And in terms of the law, the law has approved, has actually confirmed on those issues, such, especially affecting women.
Okay. Comrade Rafilwe?
The issue here about abortion, people do not understand as to why does a woman take a decision to abort. There are many reasons. You can never carry an unwanted child as a woman. I mean, because that thing will make even the feel loved. You won't give love. You know, if you are pregnant, you nurture that pregnancy because you are bringing about a human being. Respect. So that is why many people did not understand what is meant by abortion. You don't simply just go and do abortion. You have. That is why they keep on saying, we are killers. We are this and this and that. They don't understand the pain, you know, that women go through when they are still growing inside of one's womb. So I think there was just that misunderstanding that is as usual because it's a woman's...
Jane, because there's some important issues that Comrade Jane, for instance, raised around organizing and recruitment. I think in the unions we recruit, but we forget also to organize those workers for us now, today.
I think for me, one of the critical things, and this goes for meeting, the regular meetings of all of the members in the workplace in order to put on the table and discuss the issues that are confronting them. Because that really is the place where you hear most clearly what is worrying workers and what are the issues that need to be put on the table both with the bosses and to the policy makers. Each sector is slightly different. Some sectors are predominantly women, some sectors are predominantly men. So one needs to think very carefully about what are the safe spaces issues. And I think that has to be carefully thought through in the different sectors. Yeah, thank you.
Before I give to Liesel, I think I want to make and bringing up these issues. You also would have had to articulate. I can say, I need to get up 4 o'clock this morning to go to the airport, catch up. Did you ensure that you got your point across in terms of these issues? I can go to the boss and say, I need so many days childcare leave or whatever. But around the particular issues that you have, how did you popularize it? How did you recruit other workers or other factories or other unions to buy into your issues that you had at the time?
To this one. Yeah, when you let's say for instance you're talking about you have to be at the airport in the morning and when all that, how did we overcome? They no, I have to do this. I cannot leave this unattended. I had to attend to this matter. So that is how we and say for instance at work, you have to go in, your baby is sick, your baby, say for instance, like let's take an issue of what, just indicate and report to say, I'm not coming, I've got a family sibling who has passed on, but therefore those days I won't be. That is how we first
really followed the question, but I think it was like an how did the individuals cope with the pressures? Well, I mean, I think that, you know, one of the observations we used to make, relationships, personal relationships broke up, marriages broke up because of the participation of the woman leader in the union. They were predominantly single women and often single mothers. Because the stress of that constant battle in the home of housework, the sharing of childcare, and so on, and the work in the union. And I do think my observation is a lot of progress has been made.
This issue is quite thorny because it depends. That is why it's important for women to understand the problems of every woman surrounding them. Very, very important. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Thank you. It's not only support on a personal level, but it's also support in terms.
Some of what has been raised in terms of resistance. And you spoke about many ways in which when you tried to advance, this was one, that was one, but we don't hear how did you actually win that? It sounds like it just happened. Oh, we got maternity benefits, but there was a whole process when they tried to advance certain demands. It would be useful to hear, and I think what you were saying was very much part of that about women supporting each other and coming together. But
I think the strategy was almost like a parallel but mutually supportive strategy of where women organizers and leaders could get together to discuss common issues across the unions. And then also within the unions, these were not formal structures at that branch executives, the shop stewards councils at a local level, that the issues that had already been put on the table by women, like maternity leave, that they were really discussed by the membership whoever was the bargaining team, even if the team was largely men, which was usually the case, that they were bound by the decisions and the input of the... And the two issues that were big on the table in all of the unions then was the maternity leave and the demand for the companies to, except for me, all the shop stewards were men. And so we always used to divide up who would take which issue to motivate. And in his motivation, he was mixing it with maternity and so on. So that was quite a lesson that we hadn't done our homework quite well enough. But yeah, that the bargaining team, men or women, and as I say, mostly men, had to put the issue on the table, and they had to then report back what was the outcome of the other issues. So there was the constant reminder that, you know, mandating accountability, you dare not.
Thank you. That's a very important lesson. I think in today's age, it's a very, very important lesson. And it kind of brings us to the law.
Popularizing some of the demands of women. We would, as COSATU Women's Forum, because it was our Women's Forum, here in, it was that time where the Gauteng province was called PW. We organized women in all the affiliates at that time. We would hold meetings over weekends and deal with our issues. Labor bill that was being introduced by the then Minister of Labor, I've forgotten, it was during the time, it was still during the time of the apartheid. We held women organizations, like for instance here in Gauteng we had FEDTRO. But I'm talking now about the Masisulu, Jesse Duarte, and other comrades from FEDTRO to help us to lead that march. So the BEC members of different unions, they did join us. So that's how we popularized some of our demands. Yeah.
Lessons from the struggle of that time that you would like to share with us that we can use still today?
I mean, presently we do have the social media, we can popularize some of the things, but the social media is not, doesn't feel the pain of less production. Oh, they will keep on doing things as usual.
In addition to that, you know, Tiny raised a very important point about many of the gains won that have now been translated into law. The right to termination pregnancy, because there are big movements across the world, particularly emanating from the United States at the moment, which are way. And there are people in this country, there are political parties who are also pushing back against those rights. And we've got an election coming up next year, and democratic, accountable, where we bring the members with us. We mustn't leave the members behind. And it's not a very popular term, except in private relationships. And certainly we didn't really use that terminology in the past, but I think if we're going to in the process.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, yes, you may.
The last one, comrades, is that whenever who we are employing to be our organizers. Because we're not talking about people who pay lip service here. We want people who are committed, who are going to, who have done something wrong. That's what is important, is to be sure that the organizers we employ are passionate about workers' issue.
All you wanted to say?
No.
I'm being democratic, eh?
Yeah,
Because
what I want to say, because I think now we are nearing the end. That they need to do similar, just linking it to what Comrade Refile has just said. Comrades, we feel very, very bad outside there. We're organizing workers into one. So I'm pleading with all of you. We were taught when we were shop stewards at the floor. We were mandated to do A, B, C, D. After that mandate, you take the mandate to the employer, whether it's nice or bad. Take it as is, because it's from workers properly represented.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, comrades. I think I don't want to repeat what comrades said. And remember to report back. We're getting our mandate from our members. Yeah. So thank you very much. Comrade Jane, you wanted to show a photo now? Comrades, for your contribution. Some questions?
Yes, okay, comrades. So we just want to take the last few minutes. We'll take 10 minutes just to. I'm gonna, and then after that we'll open up again for the last few minutes for questions from the floor. But I'm going to ask Kanya to Kanya.
Okay, so I don't know if maybe we can have a roaming mic in the room for you to share. And then what some of your lessons were from the project.
All right. Say morning.
Afternoon.
Okay, administrator. Our province was the luckiest province because we were the first province to kickstart this project of. I was also fortunate enough that I was with Comrade Lizelle, Comrade Getty for a whole week. So when I was doing the interviews, trade union environment, some of the advice that they will give to the young females, it will help them. And we interviewed, we started with Sis Busi. Busi was from a clothing environment, had to interview them. She shared the struggles that they have to go through being in the male-dominated environment and being a female. The day before that, she gave birth. Lucky enough, she gave birth during the weekend, and on Monday, she was expected to be back at work because if she didn't get back, like if she didn't go back to work, she'll be unemployed. And mind you, having an additional man was a break. Now, boyfriend, dololo imali. Umfazi masisebenza, and she didn't have. And when you work in a mental industry, you don't like Jackson Zima say come in the office and sit in, like you wear your overall, you carry heavy things, and quite shaky. And it was like listening to her. I've got to appreciate and see that, sometimes you always cry and complain and complain and complain. And there are people who've been through to others. Us at COSATU, we are lucky because we are the benefiting with 6 months fully paid. So, next year, Pinda. So it was those things. And then we interviewed Mam Nise. Mam Nise was an office clerk, administrator. Clerk, back then they were called clerks. Something positive. The administrators and the clerks were recognized when they see a potential in that. They were elected into leading.
Sorry to cut you.
Mam Eunice Machola, who is currently the speaker of Umsunduzi municipality, a member of Nehau. She started as doing, and she's doing correctly, like Obapet. So, siyabonga.
Thank you, comrade. So, very big lessons there. One, do it. So, over to you, comrade, with your reflections.
Good afternoon, comrades. Uthokozani wakwamthini. I am coming from Epondweni, Eastern Cape. I'm the comrade Nondumiso Ngoqo from Sakau. She just recently passed away last month. But this was, even when all her journey, may her soul rest in peace. For her, I'm going to be very brief. What I've learned from her story over and beyond, organizing, retaining in membership, because there's this new phenomenon now whereby, as long as I love the fact that they even had their strategies of meeting as women. They would go into somebody else's house, like Kubanku Stockfell, whereby they sit going. Yes, they say it was very difficult, but they were not looking at what was happening in front of their feet at that time. They were looking at the end goal, of which is Obon. So with the older generation, we really need to recognize, seriously, we're standing on shoulders of giants. And because
two very big lessons there. I think it was Toni Morrison who said, if there's ever a book that you want to read, you must write it yourself. And I think it's very important for us to be able to write. So over to you, comrade, for the last reflection.
Good afternoon. My name is Mahoto Mapena. I am Provincial Gender Coordinator of Pop Crew. It's learned a lot of things in the fact that women's stories were never told, and women played a crucial role in where we are right now. We are seated right now, we are able to express our view that there are people who fought tooth and nail for us to be where we are. So we must never, ever disappoint them because they went through interviewing our National Gender Coordinator. She's in the room. But the second person that I got an opportunity to interview was our second deputy president during that time. Comrade Amelia Mahlatsi. Give us a homework. What knowledge are you imparting? Who are you empowering? As women seated here, justice and inclusivity, we need to unite. And we need one ideology. They fought many battles and they won them through unity. Those are the lessons we should take as we forge ahead, because the struggle is real. Let us be intentional in everything we do.
So we must never forget and we must never disappoint. Thank you also for the work that you also did. The people of my generation don't clap, we clock it. So thank you very much. Back to you.
Okay, comrades. Thank you. Oh, I'm so loud. Thank you very much for sharing. We appreciate. While we can still tell you that you are appreciated, we honor the journey you've traveled. And I want to say that some of your wins have amends. We are going to continue the baton. And now, before we break for lunch, there's something that, because we started late, that we need to really put it off the folder. It's called No Space, the core values of social democracy, freedom, justice, and solidarity. In the spirit of these values, we advocate for a society that treats all people with respect and dignity. As organizers, we take our responsibility and legal obligation to prevent sexual harassment in all our spaces very seriously. We encourage you to always stand at our event in case you feel discriminated against by a person present in our company. Alternatively, we can make through the following channel. There's a WhatsApp number, angithi niyayibona? And there's a WhatsApp chat board, angithi niyayibona? And then there's a reporting hotline reporting app available from Google Play or the App Store and make your report via our app. And there's an email. And sensitivity and confidentiality to protect and assist participants. Collectively creating spaces free from sexual harassment, violence, and discrimination is what is key. And actually in the workplace also applies in the space. If you want to read more information, we have very smartphones. Please stand up because they are our safeguarding team for this process. So that if there's anything, any incident, if it makes you sometimes we are not sure. Nomfundo is harassing me for time because the kitchen wants to close. She's going to be standing on the stairs there. Please collect your milk. Can we be back here at 25 to 3? You see, I've given you the whole hour. Niabon, can we start? If you have not registered, it means you have not arrived. And one more thing from Lisa.
Comrades, just to there's an exhibition. So if you have time to wander through there later or even at your lunchtime, you will see the comrades here today depicted there and many during the course of this week. Thank you.
Thank you. And then they want to, we're going to take a group. They're requesting a photo of you first. Yes, we come back briefly. I need to comrade. A lot of things emerge here. Tuma, reporter.